What's happening?
Hello, coming in. Here we are.
Hey,
How
thank
are
you.
you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for accommodating me today.
Oh, no problem. No
I had a
problem.
funeral and I there was just a mix up with the time and uh,
Yeah, understood. Where are you? What city?
Ventura, California.
Okay,
Where are
close
you at?
to
Where are you from?
right now I'm in Crestline, California, but
Oh,
I live in uh this place called Glassell Park, which is close to Eagle Rock, Pasadena, that area of LA. So LA.
I spent a lot of time out there, so
Yeah,
I
yeah,
explore everything. I love exploring and
yeah. I love living there. But I'm glad to be up here. I'm in the mountains for a little peace and quiet.
you writing?
So, not really. I just needed to get out of town, and we're
I feel you.
fortunate enough to have a place up here. Uh,
Every so often it's good to get away from the busyness, huh?
yeah, it's only an hour and a half away too, which is nice.
It's always
So,
nice. Well, I'm excited about talking with you with your art
good. Thank you.
and um let's get into it.
Let's
Uh,
do it.
you guys have an album coming out, Looking for a Light.
Yeah, it just came out a little over a month ago, and it's out there in the world.
How do you feel with it?
I love it. It's a really good record. I think it's sort of a step forward in songwriting and yeah, different sort of tones, not as much reliance on buzz and stuff like that. It's more songs. Not that the stuff previously wasn't, but it's a nice change. Yeah.
Uh, I it is literally something that it calms my soul listening to it.
Oh, thank you.
Um, I had a time to listen to a few songs on it, and I was just sitting with both my headpods or AirPods in, and um, it really is a vibe. Like it sets the tone, and it allows you to be introspective.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything that comes out it's soothing to me too. It's that's why I do music, and the songs that end up making the records are usually songs that I've listened to myself 100 times or something, and they soothe me as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Um, when you're creating music, this genre of music, to me, I would love to get inside your head and know how you create it. Like, what's the first thing you reach for? Um, and how do you put this together?
Yeah, I've developed a process over the years. I mean, I've been doing the same thing for quite a long time that it works really well. And it's interesting, and it's probably, everybody's got a different method. Some people sit down with an acoustic guitar or whatever. And for me, I go down, I have a basement studio, and I go down there and I open up Logic. I put in some kind of drum track. It doesn't matter as long as it's sort of metronomic, and then I play along to that, making a rhythm guitar track. And often the songs come out using that first take. Sometimes I'll tweak it a little bit, but so I'll get that first take of the rhythm guitar track, and maybe I'll add a layer or something. But then the next thing I do is the vocals, and that's kind of the interesting part is develop a method of I just sing stream of consciousness over the rhythm guitar track with whatever comes out. It's sort of drawing from inside or outside, who knows, and a lot of times I'll end up using what comes out, like 90% of it, maybe, or sometimes 100%, but usually I'll change a few words here and there. but that's the method. And then I'll add some bass, so, and then we have another interesting part of the band where I have a friend in New York who's been part of the band since its inception, and he'll add drums, real drums to it, not real fake drums. I'm saying sort of a more of a real drum beat to it, and that's what we take into the studio eventually.
That's dope.
Yeah,
What I really take from it is emotion.
yeah,
And like I feel the emotion that's coming from it. And a lot of music, with some music, you don't feel that. You don't feel the emotion behind it. And I feel as if you're sharing a part of who you are, all your emotions out.
yeah.
It's very impressive. It's very impressive that you're able to make someone feel.
Thank you. And it's a big deal, as a musician and an artist to be able to touch somebody else, anybody, and the way I do it sort of like does draw from what I'm feeling, and I sometimes struggle with emotions that are difficult to deal with, or anxiety, depression, things like that. And this is a way for me of just letting it out, but not in a hopeless way, but a hopeful way, you know. And even like a song like "I Can Hurt All the Time," right? I don't know if you listen to that one, but it's very simple lyrics, and it's about not feeling good, but it's hopeful at the same time, And I listened to that one like over 100 times before we recorded it. Yeah.
My favorite song on the album is Maze.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know what it is about that song. It seems to like I just got lost.
Yeah.
And my head is always spinning, buddy. My head's, oh, did you do this? Did you do that? Remember, do this. It's that business guy that's inside my head. Just don't forget, don't forget, don't forget. You have to do this next. How do you get better? Like it's always a voice inside my head that's just going. And
Yeah.
for the 5 minutes or so of that song, it silenced that shit up.
Oh, that's
Thank
great.
God, man. Shut up.
I know the feeling, man. Yeah, I mean, I have a business and two, and I'm, like I have those same kind of feelings of, I could do this better, I should be doing that, or I shouldn't have done that. And that song is almost talking to yourself a little bit, like I can't do anything right these days, and like and there's a part where it says something about I don't have the lyrics in front of me, but it's uh not treating me right, or like I wish I could pull it up real quick, but it's sort of like talking to yourself, it's like the negative self-talk, you
Yeah.
know yeah.
Where was your head at when you created that album? And what were the emotions that you were feeling?
The song or the album?
I want to do both eventually.
Okay.
Let's start with the song and then let's get to the album.
Yeah, the song, that was one of the earlier ones, I think. And so that was written, during COVID, which is, during the year last year. And it was, crazy world, it was, so it was just letting out some of those feelings, that of all the things that were going on, and the pandemic, the divisiveness in the world, everything that was happening, it just
Yeah.
felt like a bad time, and it was a release of that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay.
Does that make
And
sense?
and
Yeah.
what about for the album? Where was your head at during for the majority while creating?
For me, this was actually I was in a better place, and it's surprising because, most of it was written during the last year. So besides those, a couple of earlier songs like Quarantine Blues and Maze, the rest of it's sort of more, has more joy and more life in it, like I wasn't suffering as I was early on in the band's history from, major depressive episodes or whatever. I was in a pretty good place. And, so there's even like a kind of a love song that wasn't really meant to be a love song called Ship on the Sea. It just turned into one. And, so like I said, pretty good place actually on this record.
All right, you're in a good place on that one.
Yeah.
What were you listening to during when you are, writing this album? Like, what is
Wow.
in your headphones? Just we go through phases in life where, like, oh, I'm listening to extra Led Zeppelin this month, or I really like Dayglow, so I'm gonna listen to some Dayglow this month. Where
Right.
where were you at that part?
Yeah, I listen to such a variety of things. I'm a song person, so but most of it is is rock. I'm kind of a rock person, and so it's either I listen to a lot of stuff like the Brian Jonestown Massacre, the Black Angels, the Dandy Warhols, things like that. But then I also listen to the sort of punk and metal and hardcore and noise and stuff like that. And, you know, uh, yeah, so it's like a pretty big mix, and, but between the sort of melodic stuff and then, you have the more aggressive stuff, that's my sweet spot.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too. Um, do you have oh, tell us who Tombstones in Their Eyes are? If you had to describe the band to someone who's never heard it before, how would you describe it?
Oof. Yeah, that's a hard one because it's ultimately at its core it's rock and roll, but it's rock and roll flavored with psychedelia, shoegaze, even some punk rock, some noise, a lot of fuzz, distortion, delay, reverb. It's kind of like a hard, that's one of the hardest things is to pigeonhole yourself kind of or put yourself in a box. And I don't know how to do that, but we get stuck into the psych rock category a lot, and that's fine, or shoegaze, but I don't really consider ourselves that much of a shoegaze band because we're not really like a lot of those bands. But yeah, I would describe it as rock and roll and dark rock and roll.
How would you describe your, philosophy, or how would you describe who you guys are to the core as
Uh,
musicians?
I'm sorry.
As musicians.
Yeah. Let's see. I would say music lovers. I mean, for me, I'm answering for myself. I mean, the rest of the band is probably in a similar boat, but basically, music is my life, and whether it's listening to it or making it. And before I made it, I listened, you know, voraciously, and I was also a big reader, but really, music is what soothed me the most, and it still does. It's like I'm always have music on no matter what I'm doing. Before I talk to you, I'm watching a baseball game and I have music going. It's like that's my sweet spot. The baseball's quiet, the music's there, and so it's like we're you know it's about purity. It's about this is just what comes out. And there's no sort of mechanism or thought process towards who's going to like this or anything like that. And so, like, as a band, it's more about feel and originality and like this, then what comes out. I hope that's a long answer for that
No, that's
question, but
awesome,
yeah.
man. Your answers are very thoughtful and well put together. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Um, you have is the single Quarantine Blues?
Yeah, that was the first single. Uh, and that was the first song that was written for the record. And it was written early on in the lockdown period last year, probably in April, and went and recorded it pretty quickly. It just came out the same way that most of the songs do. I changed a few words to make it less specific to COVID-19 because quarantine has been something in human culture for a long time. It hasn't it's not something that's originated with COVID-19. It's about being alone and being stuck, and maybe being in not such a good place, and it just came out, like that,
Awesome.
and it kind of rocks too.
Yeah, yeah. I love it. It's
Thanks.
it's a good one. My another song I really liked from the album is Hey.
Yeah,
That was and there's something about it made me feel calm again,
yeah,
and but more happier, I guess.
yeah. I love that song.
Um,
Yeah,
Give me a little background on that.
yeah, it's it just you can't control the way I write. You can't control what's going to come out. Like I can't like there's songs I've written where I'm like I'd love to write another one of those songs, right? And it just doesn't work that way. So one day I went down to the basement and Hey is what came out, and I did change some of the words around on that one, and it's a little more playful. It's got a little more sort of lust in it, and maybe they're like but it's also got more of an old timey feel, and less instrumentation.
Yeah.
There's like I think only one or two guitar tracks, and yeah, that's a fun one. I like that one a lot.
Is there anything, or can you tell us a fun story from the album? Like just a funny story that you might have. If you don't have one, that's fine as well.
I'm trying to think of anything funny that happened. Because it was so locked down. I mean, the only, there's really nothing was that funny about last year. It was so hard to record and get into the studio. And, so like we would do 4 tracks when it was okay, sort of seemingly to go out. And we would get a few tracks in with the drums. And then it would be 4 months before we go back in. So really the only funny thing, I don't know, the whole wearing masks in the studio and, like just the last year in itself was, like funny, not in a good way.
Yeah.
Sorry. I don't know. Yeah.
If there's anything I've missed, is there anything that you would like people to know about Tombstones in Their Eyes that maybe I have glossed over?
Sure. I mean, do you know where the name comes from?
Where does the name come from?
The name comes from a Hoyt Axton song made famous by Steppenwolf, and they made it famous in the movie Easy Rider. It's called The Pusher. So a lot of people think it's like weird death metal thing or a Western thing or something, but it's really about the song is about drugs and drug addicts and the pusher. So yeah, it talks about people walking around with tombstones in their eyes. That's one of the lyrics. So I just happened to choose that early on in the project, and sometimes when you pick a name, you're stuck with it, and that's what we have.
That's a killer
So
name, though.
you like it?
Oh my
Good.
God. And imagine the merch with that.
Yeah, I'm working on some new shirts and stuff. We got to get some stuff going. We've also developed sort of a nautical theme, you may have noticed, where there's a ship on many of the covers. If you
Yeah.
look on the cover of the new record, there's a ship there. And that just started early on from the sort of the concept of a ship in a stormy sea especially the old sailing ships, those old paintings look so cool to me that I started using them on the covers, and it developed into a theme. And that's just sort of how I feel like life is sometimes, like you're stuck in a stormy sea and you have to, like navigate your way, so that's part of
And you
something.
have a song, right, on the album, like Ship on the Sea?
Ship on the Sea, and there's a video going to come out in about a month for that. That'll be the second single, and that actually is the one that turned into a love song. It's got some, lyrics about, like it started off with the lone ship on the sea concept, but then it, like where no one's in sight, and you're alone, and there's danger, and but it turned into where there is no other ship on the sea is the chorus, and that means, of course, in a metaphorical sense, that there's no one else for me, kind of that's how it ended up on its own. It just kind of morphed into that.
Yeah.
So it's cool. So yeah, what else? Let me think of anything else. I think that we may have covered everything. I mean, I do want to mention that some of the guys in the band, we have some very good players. Our drummer has been with us for a long time. His name's Steven Striegel. He's a graduate of Berkeley College back east, and like I'm not trained, so everybody else in the band is a better musician than me. I'm like the guy that knows like 6 chords, and but was given some kind of gift late in my life where all of a sudden songs started coming to me, and it's sort of amazing, because I've been playing music for a long time, and these are the first, like, it's just they keep coming, and it's that's the kind of thing you don't stop, so like I said, I consider it a gift from wherever.
It is, and it's it touches people. You did a
Yeah,
good job, man. It's great.
and that means a lot.
Well, buddy, thank you so much for your time. Thank
Yeah.
you for sharing your art with me, and even just listening to the songs, I feel some sort of connection with you.
No, thank you. Yeah, you
Good
seem
job.
like a very nice guy, and I appreciate your time as well. And I'm sorry about the funeral you had to go to. I hope it wasn't.
It was awesome. It was good.
It was good. Okay.
My man lived he was my best friend's father. He lived a
Okay.
real good life.
Good. So okay.
We celebrated.
Glad,
It was a real mourning.
good. Glad to hear that was. He had a full life and wasn't cut off too early. So yeah, appreciate that, Tim.
All right, my man.
All
You
right.
take care of yourself, and good luck with the album.
Thank you very much. Have a great rest of your day.
You as well.
All right. All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.